Greetings, Eric Hammond here with the Joy of Homesteading. I have a critical maintenance issue I want to talk to you about on these cheap Chinese excavators. When I first got this thing, I showed you a video. This is the rotation motor right here. It actually goes down inside of that hole, and then it mates up with this bowl gear, that big bowl gear right here. So it comes down through that hole, and that's what causes the whole machine to rotate. And in the first video, I showed you the bolt on the end of that gear had come loose, or it was actually never tight. Right there, right in that hole. It's just a tiny little bolt. It looks like this. And I've got 8 hours on the machine now, and that bolt is loose again. So we're going to Loctite that. The bolts that hold the motor in. So this whole motor goes down inside of that hole, and then it's held in place with some Allen bolts that look like that. And those bolts had come loose. So we're going to clean all the holes, Loctite the bolts, clean the bolts, and put it all back together. I did want to tell you about these bolts in the ends of the motors right here. So there's 4 bolts that go around here. I have seen reports of these coming loose, the motor separating, and then seals inside of here going bad. So that's why I didn't just leave this motor bolted in and then go ahead and Loctite my bolts. I wanted to check these. These are a 5mm Allen head. Mine were tight. If yours are not tight, or if they're just snug, I would pull them out like one at a time, clean the hole in the bolt, and then put it back in with blue Loctite. Make sure those are tight, because if these seals in here blow, it could be a pain in the butt trying to get that seal so that you can repair that motor. So that's a critical item on these. I've seen reports of these bolts that bolt it down getting loose all the time. Some people replace them with a longer bolt with like a hex head on it. I think I'm just going to try Loctite right now, but that's pretty much it. When you use your Loctite, you just take some brake parts cleaner, you clean the bolt really well, blow it off with some compressed air, and then just cover that bolt and the threads with Loctite. I got some here. This is blue Loctite. I would just use blue. Cover the threads, torque it, and then put it in place, and you shouldn't have any trouble again. And again, that thing just sits down in there. I can't do it with one hand, but it just sits down inside of that hole. You can see it just by taking this floor plate out. Definitely a critical item to check on these. I see tons of reports of this coming loose. So make sure you get those tightened and Loctited before you do a bunch of work. So I'm 8 hours into this machine. I went through and torqued every fastener before I used it, changed all the fluids, and I'm doing it again at 8 hours. I'm not finding a lot of things that are loose. I've found a couple, but then once I've done that a couple times, I might check again at 20 just to see how things are going. I think as you learn the machine and you fix these things, you probably can stretch those repairs further and further out. But that's one of the things that you got to deal with when you buy these cheap Chinese excavators. There's a little bit of maintenance to do, preventative maintenance when you first start. Overall, I'm impressed with it so far. One thing I will mention is when I changed the oil the first time, it came out looking like sparkly glitter, completely full of metal. And that was 0 hours. I changed it again at 8 hours, and it looked like glitter again. It runs fine. I'm not used to seeing that out of engines. I don't know why this is doing it. I'm going to keep changing it, but I'm not concerned about it. If that's something you're experiencing, don't be too super worried about it yet. But man, it looks just like glitter. It's crazy. It's like maybe they just didn't clean the engine when they built it. I don't know. Cheap Chinese stuff. Oh, and last thing, pay attention to where the hydraulic hoses run. Like there's sharp edges So I've put a guard on this hose just so they don't get cut. Basically, you just take a water hose, like an old garden hose, or a piece of rubber hose. Just cut a section out of it, cut a slit on it, and slide it over that, and that'll protect it really well. Anywhere where there's a sharp edge, go ahead and protect them. If you like this kind of thing, hit that thumbs up button, and other people get to see it. And thank you for watching. Bye.